There we go. Can you guys hear me? Someone put something in the chat if you can hear me before I start talking and no one can hear me. I think I'm gonna just shoot the shit, guys. If anyone can't hear me or if this love it. Right, guys. Hope all is good. Hope everyone's had an amazing weekend. If you guys are new, if anyone's watching this on catch up that's new, these are essentially kind of SMMA Q&As. I kind of kick them off with a very short, like 5-minute kind of like monologue on a particular, I don't know, event, scenario, thought that's happened to me in the last week in the agency that's kind of food for thought, just to spark some conversation. Then we just dive into like an hour-long Q&A drop-in session every single Monday on the channel, really for just any kind of help, just because I get so many messages on Instagram, and it just doesn't, like, it's so difficult to get round to everyone that isn't an Academy member. Obviously, Academy members get flagged and I prioritize those. But in terms of the general messages, I get like 50 to 75 like sales messages a day of people pretending like they want my help and then go into a pitch about video editing. And it's just that, hence why we started these lives. So if you have any questions, guys, on your SMMA, how to sign clients, how to manage an agency, any questions on mine and Tom's agency, our journey, you know, what we're currently doing now to scale, ping them in the chat and then I'll just get round to them very, very shortly. But before I go into that, obviously there's going to be loads of Academy members in here like there usually is. There's a live call happening at 6 p.m, which it always happens on Zoom, which is very different to these YouTube lives because you've got your face on camera, you know, we shoot the shit. The Black Friday sale is still on, guys. I'm going to leave it on till tonight, so probably like a few hours after this live. And then it's just going to go back to normal price, ready for 3.0, which is launching mid-December. So anyone who's got into the Academy, you obviously get free enrollment to 3.0 that's coming out in December, which is super cool. But what I wanted to speak about, guys, before I get into it, ping any questions while I'm rambling on for the next 5 minutes. But I wanted to talk about how quickly a client can make money from your services. And the reason why I want to talk about this is yesterday, a client that we worked with, so we signed a dental client in January this year on a 3-month agreement, and they stopped after month 2. And well, we parted ways with them after month 2. We could have made them see out the 3 months, but we didn't because it got a bit, I'm not going to say hostile, but they were like pushing back on us to say they weren't getting the results. And essentially what we were saying to them is, because we were bringing them in like so many really nice leads. However, so we were advertising implants and Invisalign, and the leads that we were bringing in, and this is typical for every dental practice, and it's the same, just changing the subject matter for many other clients, is the people that we were bringing in weren't suitable to pay for Invisalign or implants right away. They needed an extra hygiene appointment. They needed all of these different things done or finance approved. So the journey of when a lead comes in for them to become a paying client was a lot longer than typically your other clients. So it was taking like 4 or 5 months from a lead coming in to them actually handing over a substantial amount of cash to that individual client. And we told them this. We said, right, listen, like those leads that we brought in are incredibly qualified. They're ready to, you know, they're ready to buy your service. They just need to do a few things beforehand. And they said, no, not good enough. We don't want to continue. And this happens, guys. And this is like 0.01% of the clients we get, most because we set the realistic expectations. They understand that. And this client was kind of a red flag from the beginning. And essentially, so we parted ways with them because they weren't happy, even though they had all of these leads. They messaged me yesterday, which is 6 months later, saying, hi, Harry, are you still doing, does your marketing agency still work with dental practices? And I said, yes. And they said, well, because the marketing that we did at the beginning of the year has now generated £25,000 in profit from those leads that we brought in 8 weeks. And I turned around to them and said, right, that's almost a 5x ROAS, a 5x return on investment, not even ROAS. Like that was on the whole of our service fee as well. And they said, yeah, I know, I should have listened to you. And it's like, this is where, guys, setting expectations with your clients is so important, because if they're expecting you to launch ads on day 1 and you convert 50K in revenue on day 2, it's just not going to work like that. It might for some industries, when every industry is very different. For things like real estate, like we've worked with a few mortgage companies, obviously, if you know anything about mortgage, like people don't just like decide they want to get a mortgage and they get a mortgage the next day. It's a process. They've got to find a house. They've got to sell the house. They've got the chain of the selling to deal with. So for a lot of businesses you work with, there is going to be a bit of delayed return on the cash they're spending. But what you need to make them realize is once you get through that 6-month period, you'll catch up with yourself, because the leads that came in in month 1 convert in month 6. Leads come in month 2, convert in month 7. So it's that initial period they just have to get through, and then they see all the success. Hopefully I've explained that well, but it's just something that's appeared in our agency, and I want to talk about it because I think SMMA owners and clients often think that just because they're running a Facebook ad campaign, their business is going to explode the next day, when it's not like that. It's a process. But yeah, hopefully all that makes sense. I'm going to dive into the questions now, guys, because that's kind of what I had to say on it, but it's just an interesting thing. Right. Sweeney, does a client still pay service fees if they don't get any results from the campaign? Prospects usually say, what happens if I don't get any results? Then typically want some sort of guarantee. Okay, no, they still have to pay the service fee even if they're not getting results. And the only reason why we never get that objection, mate, and the only reason why you'd get that objection is because you've not enforced trust. They don't trust your strategy. They don't trust you. You've not portrayed your value strong enough, because anyone that does portray their value would never get that objection. And I like to answer these questions with not how can you handle that objection, it's how can you not get that objection anymore? Because there are certain objections, guys, that you'll get that will completely, once you get that type of objection, it's kind of very difficult to come over. It means you have made a mistake along the line. We say things like, we're going to support your sales team throughout the process. And it's not an overnight thing. It's not, we turn ads on and you get results tomorrow. It's similar to what I've just spoke about, where it's a process and they're going to need help through that process, because the only way you could give a guarantee is if they can guarantee their salespeople are performing to 100% efficiency and to their KPIs, which 99% of the time they're not. So to give a guarantee based off of their employees and staff is ridiculous. So what we say to them is, right, over this 3-month agreement, we're going to be working closely with your sales team. We're going to be training them. We're going to make sure they're hitting their KPIs. We're going to make sure they're performing correctly. And so that's a process. Like, we can't expect us to bring in leads straight away and then you not close them and me and my team don't get paid. That's not fair. So it's more explaining to them why you can't give a guarantee and why no agency should give a guarantee. And we say, if anyone's giving you a guarantee, they're not a good agency, in our humble opinion. As we approach the end of 2023, is now still a good time to sign clients, or is it best to start fresh in Jan 2024? Well, January 2024 is going to be our biggest ever month as an agency, because we've had meetings in November and we've got meetings planned in December and people to kick off in January. When people get new budgets in, they just put more focus into their business. But that's not to say you just sit around and do nothing till January. You need to book meetings and have meetings now, and then they'll just say, right, we'll start in the new year. The contract will start in the new year. You've kind of missed the push in November, which we benefited off massively, where we were saying, right, sign on now. We'll be, handling your marketing throughout Black Friday and the Christmas period. Whereas now, once you get them onboarding and set up, it's going to be cutting it quite close. But no, still smash out your outreach, but you're just going to have to say, right, we'll start in the new year, or they'll probably say, let's start in the new year. I signed a client a few weeks ago. However, I'm having issues gaining access to their Facebook ad account. It's not allowing me to add their Facebook page inside the ad account. The Facebook was owned by another business previously, but has been bought by a client. Tried everything, but it's still not letting me add the Facebook page into their ad account, meaning I can't run ads from the page. Don't know if I should just walk away and terminate our agreement. It's getting quite frustrating now, I'm not going to lie. Yep, so this happens loads of times. Like, it's typically when someone who used to be in the business made the Facebook page and they're no longer in the picture. The relationship between the business owner and the person who owns the page is deteriorated and they don't want to reach out. Happens all the time. And unfortunately, if they don't have access to the Facebook page, you can't use the Facebook page. Like, that's out of your control. Like, that doesn't matter if it's you or they go with another agency. Like, they're just going to have to make a new Facebook page, unfortunately. And I know that's annoying because they lose all their likes and their posts, etc. But what are they supposed to do? What do they value more? Advertising and never advertising it on Facebook and Instagram and keeping your page, or make a new page, get some brand awareness campaigns up, some follow campaigns up, grow the following, grow the likes, and you're back to normal. So you're just going to have to make a new page, mate, unfortunately. Hi mate, I have 2 potential clients I might be signing this week. One has not got very good English and is proving difficult to communicate with. Have you any experience with this? No, mate, I've not had any experience with this. All of our clients are in the UK, US, and if they don't, we just wouldn't take the meeting unless they, yeah, if they don't fit a criteria. But I get what you mean. Like if it's your first few clients, as you've said on the next message, would it be better once I have a couple of clients to avoid these more challenging clients to communicate with? What are your thoughts? Yeah, so I would just completely avoid those clients. Like if you can't communicate with them, it's going to be very difficult, and the relationship's not going to be much fun. So yeah, it's kind of your call, mate. If you can't communicate with them, it's going to be physically impossible. So you don't really have a choice. But if you can get by, then just, yeah, it's kind of your call. What's the best way to improve service delivery? Just investing the time and potentially money into learning from someone who has a good strategy, whether that be YouTube, whether that be a course, a mentorship program, whatever it is. The only way you can learn is by other people that have a successful agency and that are making clients loads of money. Unfortunately, it's not like you can get a textbook on Facebook ads, because the textbook will be out of date every week because of the new stuff that comes out. So you just have to constantly be learning, which is why the Academy is so useful, mate, is because we update it all the time with the latest strategies. So like that's your vault of content of where to learn from. How long to learn Google Ads to be confident to sell as a service? Well, in the Academy, mate, there's probably, I'm Harry, by the way, not Tom. In the Academy, it's probably 15 to 16 videos, probably 10 minutes long. So if you're learning from a particular person, you could learn it very quickly. It just depends what method of learning you want to go down, if that makes sense. Like if you want to go on YouTube, it's going to take a hell of a lot longer, because you're going to have to watch loads of different people and then you don't know whether they're legit or not. But obviously with a course, you can just learn it all in one place, but it's kind of your call. But it completely depends how you want to learn it. Felipe, I've always wondered how so few people know about your YouTube channel. These lives and videos are gold, man. Appreciate that, mate. I think YouTube, if I'm being really honest, man, I think YouTube just don't push our channel because we don't talk about the cliche stuff that gets views. Like I say this all the time, like we could easily change this YouTube channel to every single video just being like how to sign 10 grand a month of clients in 30 days, how to scale an agency to 100K a month in 30 days. But no one wants to watch that shit. Like that just attracts the wrong people to our channel. That attracts people that want to get rich quick schemes and all that shit. And we just have no interest in it because it's not like our lane. Our lane is we only want to talk to people, even if I'd rather have 7 people on here that all want to run an ethical and proper marketing agency rather than 500 people on here every week that just want to get rich quick overnight and have no intention of running a proper agency. So it's like, and so these types of videos just naturally don't get pushed by the algorithm because not many people want to see that. There's only like a select pocket of people that want this kind of really raw stuff of how to actually run an agency. But yeah, it's what it is, mate. But glad you appreciate it. Aaron, yeah, it's great. Just going to try get on with this then for case study and learnings. My other potential client is wanting to run a couple of events a year, like a competition with an online training seminar thing where one person gets free membership. Is that something you have encountered? He doesn't want to do consistent ad campaigns just to do a contract for around a year. Yeah, we've done that loads of times, mate. It's all going to be based on how you position his offer. It's all going to be based on how good your funnel is and how good his actual service is, because obviously there's so many people that offer something very similar. He's gonna have to produce a lot of content for you, but yeah, it's a good way. It's a good way to do it, mate. If I'm being brutally honest, I'd try and push him to want to do the Facebook ad campaigns all year round, just because that's going to have a massive impact on his business long term. And it's like, just to run ads to get people into a seminar and then people forget about him and then you're not retargeting the interest. It's a bit, yeah, it's not the best. Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, guys, just whack them in the chat. I can answer them. If not, I'm going to go through a few questions I've got on Instagram in the past kind of week, just because they're quite interesting. And I want to talk through a few kind of, not case studies, but a few clients that we've signed, some stuff we've encountered. That's really interesting. I think one thing that I'd really like to talk about in this live, guys, is how to kind of dissect a business when you work with them. Not every client that you work with, actually, in fact, most clients that you work with aren't going to understand how to market their business. And in fact, most clients that you work with don't actually have a very good product, if I'm being brutally honest. For example, Aaron, that personal training online, I think it was a personal trainer, or let's say a personal trainer, for example. We work with we've had so many meetings with different personal trainers, and they're all the exact same. They all think they're really unique. They all want to just like get their personal training online, and they have nothing to back it up. They just don't. They don't have a product. And they think just because they're going to run Facebook and TikTok or YouTube ad campaign, their business is going to explode. But what Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns actually do is highlight all of the issues in an existing business. So if your product's not good enough, if your customer support's not good enough, if your online course isn't good enough, if your content's not good enough, your website's not good enough, getting people at scale to view your brand is going to highlight all of those issues, which is why giving a guarantee is so ridiculous in the marketing agency space, because you have no idea what issues are going to be highlighted when you start to run ads. And in the beginning, yes, you can dissect the brand. And most people that do guarantees have countless contingencies on that guarantee to say, right, you must have a sales team that closes at 35% to get the refund. You've got to be calling all the leads. You've got to be doing all this, and this. You've got to have a high converting website, content every single day. And if that client fails on just one of them, they don't, qualify for that guarantee, which is why I think it's so scammy. And we're just so open with all of our clients to say, we don't give a guarantee because of XYZ. Don't like it. Go work with someone who is and find out for yourself and just get scammed out of money. And they're like, no, I want to work with you. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is in order for you to succeed with all of these clients, you can't just accept what you're given. You can't just be like, right, personal trainer, give me your online course and I'm going to sell it for you. Well, that course might not be saleable, because what you'll find is you'll ask them, say, right, how many have you sold in the past year? I've sold 2 of them, and one of them was my best friend. And it's like, so you have no proof of concept of your product. So that tells me I need to break that product down to see if it's even worth selling. Look at what your competitors are doing. Look at what price points your competitors are at in case he's completely outpricing himself. Are they offering extra add-ons like mentorship to the program? Like, there's so many different aspects that you need to break down as the agency, because if you don't spot those holes in their product or their service or their marketing, then that's going to reflect badly on you. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is, guys, you have to not just accept what they're given. Like, I see it so many times with beginner agencies, and the client will say to them, right, I want you to run Google ads because we know that that's best for our product, and we want you to do it to this website. And they'll go, yes, right, we'll get some Google ads to your website. And if someone said that to us, we're like, no, we're not going to do that, because I'm going to break down exactly why. This is why you shouldn't be spending money on Google. You should be spending it on TikTok. This is why you shouldn't be sending it to your website, because it's shit. You need to make a sales funnel, which we're going to do for you. And you need to be that authoritative figure on the contract. You can't just roll over and be like, yes, we'll do that for you. We'll do that for you. When deep down, you know that's not the right thing to do. So you have to have that kind of consultancy mindset with every client that you work with to be like, right, is this the correct route to go down? Do they need a new website? Do they need more content? Is their content good enough? Is their content hindering the progress? And that's really going to help you. What's the best advice for a novice trying to get their agency off the ground? Focus on money-making tasks and money-making tasks only, mate. And what I mean by that is, what lots of agencies do, and I was guilty of this when I first started, is I'll sit down on my laptop and I'll do things that make me think like I'm running an agency, like building a lead list, sending some emails, sending some DMs, getting some content up on Instagram. And when in reality, that's not going to bring in revenue for the business. What is going to bring in revenue, and it's not going to, this is not what you're going to want to hear, but what's going to bring in money is you cold calling. It's going to be scrap your website, scrap your Instagram page, scrap all that shit, and build a lead list, qualify them, and cold call them. That's all you need to do. That's the only things you can be focusing on. If you're focusing on anything else other than that, then you're purely procrastinating. You really are. And that's, so it depends. If you want to wait 6 months to sign a client, carry on faffing on with what you're doing. But if you want to sign a client tomorrow, then you have to be putting your time into stuff that you don't want to be doing, which is cold calling. It's uncomfortable. It's horrible, but it's going to get you to where you want to be. Dorak, how you, mate? C Mills, hey guys, just wanted to clarify. I bought the course yesterday and the content is valuable. Love it, mate. There's a live call in 38 minutes at 6 p.m. tonight, which is being hosted by Tom. I'm not going to be on that one. I'll be on one next week. But yeah, it'd be good to meet you on the next live calls, mate. Spencer, hey, love the channel. What is your take on targeting law firms as a niche for SMMA as a law student? Love it, mate. Like the law firms is a great niche, high ticket. Yeah, it's a good one to go for. Aaron, my guy is an in-person group personal trainer. He just wanted to run these events to help pull in a couple more in-person customers afterwards, as well as get emails to market to. I suppose I could get him on a small retainer for email marketing. What is your opinion the best way to getting a list of qualified businesses to call up? Okay, so first of all, email marketing, really good idea. Do a contest to give away free 6-month membership to his program. That grows the email list because they're submitting their email list as their competition entry. And then you can do ongoing email marketing to him. You could also charge him for a funnel because you're going to have to send those emails and the traffic produced by the email and the events to a high converting funnel. Nice go high level sequence. Otherwise, it's all just going to be a waste. Then what's my opinion in, what's in your opinion, is the best method for getting a list of qualified businesses to call up? I've been using D7 and manually checking each website. Yeah, D7 Lead Finder, Lead Gorilla, those softwares are super useful. They just need a bit of thought, like you said, cross-referencing with the website. But it gives you a good list. Like our salespeople that cold call all day, every day, use Lead Gorilla. They use D7 Lead Finder and they just crank through it. Like, yes, you're going to get a load of no answers, but that's the case with all lead generation softwares, whether you're doing LinkedIn Sales Navigator, whether you're doing D7 Lead Finder, Google, you're going to get loads of no answers, but that will build a list of really nice people. And essentially, if you don't know what that is, guys, it's just a software where you can type in, right, businesses in this location under this industry, and it will give you a list and it scrape all of the phone numbers, email addresses off essentially the internet, and just give you a nice spreadsheet of all the leads that you're going to be calling. Yeah, I think that's all, guys. Yeah, going back to law firms though. Yeah, I don't think we've worked with any law firms. We've worked with mortgage companies. It will be a special ad category, but that's not going to worry. That shouldn't matter too much. All it's going to do is affect a few of the targeting, but majority of the targeting that's going to win in 2024 is going to be open targeting because Facebook and Instagram are clever enough to figure out what you're targeting, which is what I spoke about massively on the last live call for the Academy last week, which was still test when you're doing your Facebook ad campaign, still test single targeting options, stack targeting options, all of that stuff. But what you'll find is majority of the time, open targeting, which is not having any targeted interests, is going to be the best performing ad. Facebook are clever enough to figure out if you're doing an ad around dental practices, they're just going to show it to people that have shown an interest in your dental services. Yeah, but obviously the whole point in the Facebook ad traffic is to eventually get to a point where you're no longer relying on cold traffic and you're going all to warm. But if you're working with a brand new business with no pixel data, no email list, no data, then you're going to have to start with a cold audience. But I would recommend putting majority of your budget into open targeting for majority of industries, because that's going to give you the best scope for results. And then obviously once you get that data, as quickly as possible, shift into a lookalike audience. Aaron, my mum's boss is starting up his own mortgage company. He's been a successful advisor for 15 years. I have an opportunity to market to him. Do you think a brand new business like that is too challenging as a beginner or not? No, not necessarily, mate. You just need to understand how to kind of build the infrastructure around him. Like, he's going to need a website. He's going to need a sales funnel. He's going to need his email list set up for him. He's going to have to grow his email list, his content. It's going to be a full package, but that should excite you because then you can charge a hell of a lot more money. So yeah, that's kind of all I'd say. It's just going to be it's not going to be as simple as, right, get one Facebook ad up, which any marketing campaign isn't, but you can't just get one, tiny Facebook ad campaign up to his existing website, because you're going to have to be managing it all. You're going to have to probably set up a booking system for him for his consultations or his initial chats. You're going to have a website, a sales funnel, two very separate things, his automations. You're going to have to build the whole thing for him, which is, like I say, is exciting. Twinu, how many ads sets should you run, especially on a small budget, £600? So we recommend, no matter what the budget is typically do campaign budget optimization, have probably 3 or 4 ad sets, 5 or 6 ads under each ad set, and then just test them all. For a £600 budget, so that's 20 a day. it depends what the industry is as well. Like for 600 quid, you can't really be advertising an e-commerce brand. You can't really be doing advertising on Google. It's going to have to be Facebook and Instagram, £20 a day, probably open targeting if it's for a local business, 40-mile radius, open targeting. So you'd probably just shovel it in. What I would do is just test home improvement. So yeah, it's going to be in the local area, 40-mile radius, probably £20 a day. And yeah, I would probably just do open targeting as my ad set, mate, and just have 4 or 5 ads underneath open targeting and see what comes from it. What you'll find, guys, is majority of the time, your ads are actually performing really well. It's the sales funnel which people struggle with the most. And this is what I'm seeing so much now is people know how to get a good ad up. People know how to target Facebook. In fact, Facebook are helping you out massively with your Facebook ads to show them to the right people. So the actual Facebook advertising targeting has become a lot simpler over the past kind of 6 months since this iOS 14 stuff, which is good for you because it makes your targeting easier. Your ad creatives need to be a lot simpler, not a lot of copy, just a static image that looks like an organic post. But what you'll find is unless your design and copywriting skills are good, it's going to be your landing page, which is going to really let you down. And that's going to be why you can't convert the traffic you're producing on Facebook, or you can't attract the high quality people, because we get this all the time. People say, oh, my leads aren't, the quality of the leads aren't good enough. And that's a point that we could argue forever. But if your landing page isn't good enough, or your ads aren't good enough, and they're just simply not attracting the luxury end of the market, then that is they've probably got a point that the leads that are coming in aren't good enough. So I wouldn't worry about the ads so much, as long as your ads don't look like ads and they look like organic posts. Running it to a local radius on an open targeting and putting it to a sales funnel, it's going to be your sales funnel that's letting you down. And the easiest way to figure what's letting the kind of conversions down is the click-through rate and the cost per click good enough? And if it is, so if you've got a low cost per click and a high click-through rate, then your ads are performing, but your sales funnel isn't. Then it's a question of, right, what do I need to change on the sales funnel? Usually it's something so simple, like people don't actually know what they're submitting their information for. And if you read through your sales funnel, if you get someone else to read through your sales funnel and say, right, what am I asking you to do on this website? If they can't tell you instantly what they're doing, what happens after they submit their information, what the offer is, what happens next, what the brand's like, then that sales funnel is letting you down. Yeah, that's kind of my best advice there. Does anyone else have any questions, guys? I'll answer a few more, then I'm going to jump off. Right. How often do you make changes to a Facebook ad campaign? Pretty much I view every single account we have. I personally view every single day. So I spot stuff that's coming up. When I launch the campaign initially, I leave it up for an absolute minimum of 5 to 7 days to give it a good push. And then I make the edits from there. I always duplicate the ad and the ad set before I make any changes. I don't just keep making it change to the same one, so that I can go back and look at past edits. And then typically it depends. Like if a campaign's working, then I'm going to edit it a lot less than if it isn't working. But every new ad that I'm testing, I'll leave up for 5 days and then kind of go from there. Yeah. Well, guys, if you guys don't have any other questions, I'm going to hop off. The Academy live call is in 30 minutes. If anyone's been thinking about joining the Academy, the last of the Black Friday sale is going to end tonight. It's like £350 off. It's $497 instead of $849, which is ridiculous. It's never going to be that price again. So if you're interested in getting in, guys, we've got the live calls every single Monday at 6 p.m., which is on Zoom. All the content, 3.0, which is our newest rendition of the Academy, all new videos, all new mentorship style to push what we think and what we anticipate SMMA to be in 2024. The only way you're going to be able to run an SMMA in 2024 is by the way we're now going to be teaching it in this 3.0 that's coming out. Anyone who gets into the Academy gets free enrollment into it. So there'll be a link in the description to claim the offer, but it will be going away tonight on the 27th. I'll answer these last two questions, guys, then I'm going to jump off. Spencer, how long do you go? What volume of outreach would you do before taking a step back and checking your offer or strategy? Really depends. Like if you need to be doing 30 to 50 a day for about 2 months of cold calls every day for 2 months. So that should be around 2,000, probably 1,500 calls, because that's probably about 750 a month. And if you're booking meetings, then continue with what you're doing. If you're doing that and you still can't book meetings, then you need to figure out your strategy, how you're pitching your services on the cold call. But if you're booking meetings and then closing them, then it's how you're operating the sales meeting, which is the problem. You have to treat it in stages. You can't just say, right, I'm making cold calls, not signing clients. It's the problem. It's troubleshooting that and figuring out where you're falling short. What type of businesses work best on TikTok ads? E-commerce brands work really nice. It's actually a myth that, you know, it's a younger audience. The demographic on Facebook has broadened massively. Like, we get amazing results for menopause brands, which target 45 to 55-year-old women on TikTok. So yeah, it really depends. But what I will say is, to come at that slightly differently, is the only businesses that are going to be able to survive on TikTok with TikTok ads are ones that can produce content at scale. The ads fatigue a lot quicker. The style of ads need to be very different in terms of UGC content, rather than really formal, like, corporate ads. They just don't work. So yeah, local businesses also work really well on TikTok. So yeah, well, hope you enjoyed, guys. We're going to be doing this every single Monday, so hope you enjoyed. If you have any more questions, just drop me a message on Instagram and we can just shoot the shit on there. But yeah, Academy sale ending today. Let me know if you have any questions on that, and we shall see you next week on Monday. Yeah, see you soon, guys.